Welcome back to the final exam review. This video is going to be over problems 19 and 20. It says a survey of 50 randomly selected adults ages 21 to 30 found that 30% never went to movies shown at a theater, while a survey of 50 adults ages 31 to 40 found that 48% never went to a movie at a theater. At alpha equal to 0.10, can it be concluded that the percentages are different? Use the p-value method, show all 6 steps. So the first thing we have to do is decide what type of data are we dealing with so that we can know what choices we're going to make as far as Desmos programs to use and such. So they're talking about percentages. So that tells us we're talking about proportions. And it looks like they're comparing 2 groups. One is ages 21 to 30, and one is ages 31 to 40. So I am going to be heading in my formula packet to the testing by the testing between 2 proportions. Okay, so I'm going to follow the steps. So my first step is going to be my H0 and my HA. And I am testing that P1 is equal to P2. And it says, can it be concluded that the percentages are different? So that means we're looking at a 2-tailed test. So my picture is going to be a 2-tailed. And the alpha that we're looking at is 0.10. And we're going to get a it's going to come from the computer program, so you don't need the formula, but we're going to be looking for a test statistic that is a Z test statistic because we're dealing with proportions. And so we know that the 21 to 30 age group, the P hat is equal to 0.30. And for the program, we're going to need to know the N, which is 50, and the X. Now, the X they didn't give us because they gave us the percentage. And so that means if we take 30% of 50, if I share my Desmos screen here, then I can take 30% of 50 and find out that that would be X is equal to 15. And then from the 31 to 40 age group, their P hat was 48%. And the sample size was also 50. So I'm going to take 50 times 48% and find out that the X was 24 of them, so that they had never been to a movie in a theater. I'm now going to go to my 2 proportions test in Desmos. And there should be a group 1 and group 2. We're going to go to group 1, and I'm going to put in that I had 50 as my sample size. And there were 15 of them in the first sample. And then the second sample, there were also 50, and 24 of them had said that they had never been to a movie. And so I'm going to go down, and I'm choosing the not equal to. And even though it says N right above there, I put p-value, the N just is representing that. And so the p-value for this one is 0.065. And the alpha is 0.10. And then for your step 3, you're going to go all the way down and click on the extras. And that's where we're getting our Z value, our test statistic. It's negative 1.845. And then we can go back to our paper. And once we have all this down, we can see that our p-value is actually less than our alpha. So that means there is sufficient evidence because we're going to reject H0. And there is sufficient evidence to support the claim that the two age groups have different percentages who have never went to a movie in a theater. Because we do reject H0, so there is sufficient evidence. That's number 19. So let's look at number 20. Number 20 says a random sample of 60 men found that 42 said that they had never thought about leaving their wives. While for a random sample of 40 women, 25 said that they never thought about leaving their husbands. At alpha equals 0.10, is there a difference in the proportions? Okay, so we told you it was proportions, and there's men and women. So that would again be chapter 10.3, testing the difference between two proportions. And we're going to run this hypothesis test. It does say, is there a difference? So it's a not equal to. So I'm going to say proportion for men equal to proportion for women. I'm going to use M and W. And then our HA is not equal to. We're testing at an alpha of 0.10. And our program will give us a Z0. And we have another two-tailed picture. And so our information we're going to be putting in is going to be men. The N was 60 and the X was 42. And for women, the N was 40 and the X was 25. And so let's go ahead and put that in to our program. And we are at the two proportion test. And I'm going back up and I'm changing that. So we have 60 and 42 of them. And then in our group 2, we had 40 and 25 of them. And so we're doing a not equal to. And our p-value is 0.4346, so it's pretty high. And our extras are going to give us our Z score down here, which is pretty small. It's 0.7814. So when we look at this, our p-value is greater than alpha. So we do not reject H0. So there is not sufficient evidence to support the claim that men and women feel differently about leaving their spouses. There is no difference. So both of these problems were to deal with two samples that were proportions from lesson 10.3. Catch me back for a couple more problems on the final exam review.